For the past few weeks, people here have been watching the political unrest unfold in Kenya. Violence first erupted in the wake of the presidential elections when incumbent President Mwai Kibaki narrowly defeated the opposition leader, and since then hundreds have been killed, thousands more displaced within their own country. It's something that's hitting close to home for my next two guests. Stefano Dexel and Christine Stanton went to Kenya about 6 months ago to do humanitarian work with their church's youth group. Both are with me in studio now to talk about their experience and what they're doing to help now. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
No problem.
Stefano, tell me about the work that you did in Kenya. Where did you go, and what were you doing there?
All right. So, first of all, it was a 2.5-week trip. The first week was in the capital city, Nairobi, where we interacted with local youth groups that were raising AIDS awareness within their own slums and communities. And then the second week, we went to western Kenya in a small town called Usenge, where we built a classroom for a small school in that community there.
Christine, had you ever thought about Kenya before? Had you ever did you know anything about the country before you went?
Absolutely nothing. It wasn't until this opportunity was presented to me that I had even thought about the country.
So what was it like? I mean, you step off the plane, you're in this, you're on the continent, a different country, a very different situation, obviously. What went through your mind?
It was kind of unreal. The whole African experience, you have a perception in your mind and you don't realize, I don't know, I just found the perception to be totally different from the reality.
What did you expect?
I expected what you see on the TV, the crying children, and I met the most incredible people and with the biggest smiles, and it was just like happiness and like optimism all around me.
We were expecting despair, but what we got was hope.
Really? So what did the hope look like, Stefano?
The hope looked like they were moving towards a better future. They had relative stability compared to previous governments, and they were really also looking forward to this recent election, which unfortunately has put them quite a few steps backwards.
And so what went through your mind when you heard about what was happening towards the end of last year and through the beginning of this year and the violence that has followed the election?
I was just devastated because this was really a chance for Kenyans to break through, to take a step forward. But, of course, what happened just definitely hasn't worked out for them in the way it has. And media attention has really been focused on the political election side to this. But, of course, like you mentioned in your intro, there's really a humanitarian crisis unfolding.
200,000 people displaced.
200,000 people homeless, 500,000 in need of food and aid. And prices are going up on food, water. Availability is just plummeting.
And you've been following this, I mean, as we have here through the newspapers, but also online through YouTube?
Oh, yes.
So how have you been doing that?
Well, pretty much we just go to the headlines. You click in Kenya, and there's a lot of things that pop up.
Yeah.
I think
there's youtube.com/NTV Kenya, and they have the latest news on what's going on down there. You
have friends that you made in Kenya. Christine, how have you been in contact with them?
That was a pretty scary experience, to be honest. Like, I've heard from everyone. I've heard from the leader of the Huruma youth group that everyone was all right. And so he was kind of speaking for everyone. Yeah. So I didn't get to talk specifically to the friends I have over there. But it was actually really scary because we saw a YouTube video of Huruma on fire, which is where most of our friends live. And it was just really scary. I
mean, saying that they're all right is reassuring. But what did they tell you about what's actually happening on the ground? Did they give you a snapshot as to what's going on there?
Yes.
A lot of riots, just general unsettling.
And there's fear all around. People are staying in shelters together, keeping close. You can't go on the streets without fearing for your life. And just the accessibility to food and to water is devastating. Now,
you have not just been watching what's going on, Stefano. You've been involved in trying to generate some action to help these people out. Tell us what you've been doing.
Well, actually, it wasn't just me. It was the group in general. We've been watching the situation unfolding, and we were saying, what can we do? And the truth is, there's a lot that we can do. And the first thing we did was this press release, which was a call on the Canadian government to act on this humanitarian crisis. And so we're not only encouraging the government to act, but we're also encouraging Canadians to act and to contact their local MPs to get informed and to realize that this is really something that we have to put our hearts into. And we feel that it should be a top priority.
As a wealthy country, we have the responsibility to help That's what I've...
Now, it's interesting because, again, as you said, you really knew nothing about this country before. You've gone, your worldview has completely changed. I mean, this is a big planet, and Kenya is a long way away. Tell me, I mean, when you went there, having gone there and seen on the ground what life is like, what do you think of it now? I mean, do you feel as though you have a responsibility to help out? I
do. I feel like the thing that went through my head when I was over there was the privilege. Like, it's cliche to feel like it's changed you, but when you come back, you do see your life through a different perspective, through different people's eyes, because things are so different. And, like, Canada, it's so extremely wealthy in comparison. Like, Kenya was seen as, like, a stable country, one of the top countries, around its surrounding areas.
For Africa.
And now look what's happened. It's so easy.
Yeah. If people want to follow your lead and help out, what should they do? Where should they begin?
Well, like I said, contact their local MPs. We're going to be writing up a petition. They can also check out our blog at www.runnymedeyouthoutreach.blogspot.com, where we'll be keeping posted on the petition and other activities going on at the church.
The letter we've written is apparently being taken to Parliament by Peggy Nash, so that's a big step.
Excellent. You're both doing great work. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks so much.
Stefano Mazzilli-Dexel and Christine Stenton, part of the Runnymede United Youth group from that church. They went to Kenya about 6 months ago, now calling on the Canadian government to send aid to Kenya to help those who have been displaced by recent acts of violence and writing. If you want more information, just Google Runnymede United Church and you will find their blog and you can follow along with their activities.